We are in the final countdown to the grand opening of Disneyland's brand new Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I was fortunate enough to go to a little preview and got to see it before it was open to the public, and I thought it would be helpful to let you guys know some really helpful tips and information before you visit Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. You need a reservation to visit Star Wars Galaxy's Edge between May 31st and June 23rd. I feel like this cannot be said enough. A lot of the advertisements and everything for Galaxy's Edge says grand opening May 31st, but you need a reservation to enter. All of the reservations that were made available through Disneyland.com were sold out that same day, but you can still get a reservation between these first opening weeks if you book a night at any 3 Disneyland Resort hotels. Your hotel room can have up to 5 people on the reservation. Having a reservation automatically grants you a 4-hour time window to experience Galaxy's Edge. That is the same type of time window that you got if you made a reservation online when they were available. It's also worth noting that you can edit and change any of those names on your hotel reservation within 10 days before your check-in. So if you have any last minute changes, it's not going to be a problem. However, if you made reservations through the Disneyland website when those were available, you cannot edit or change those names. In order to check in, you need the reservation holder as well as any members of the party that were included when the reservation was made. If not everyone in your party can go anymore, that's totally fine, but just know that you cannot fill those slots with any other names or people, and you need your entire party that's going to be attending together there when you check in. Do not forget to bring your IDs and do not head straight to Galaxy's Edge first. You're going to be checking in at the launch bay in Tomorrowland. If you show up to Galaxy's Edge first, you're going to get sent right back down to get your wristbands. Starting June 24th, when Galaxy's Edge is open to the public and you no longer need a reservation, Disneyland is going to be having a virtual queue within their Disneyland app. So it's safe to assume, I think, that the sooner you enter the park and you open the app, you can enter the queue, that the sooner you're actually going to be led into Galaxy's Edge. This is obviously to stagger crowds, so get the Disneyland app ahead of time and be prepared. Costumes are not allowed. Galaxy's Edge follows the same rules as anywhere within Disneyland, so guests under 14 can wear a costume, but if you're grown up, just like Disney bound, because it's so cool. The Cantina. The Cantina is one of the most anticipated parts of Batuu, and there's going to be a long line. Between the 4-hour time window we were there, the line was anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour, and the line was constantly closing and reopening, because obviously they can't just have like a 4-hour long line of all these people. There's going to be nowhere to put them. We noticed that like 15 to 30 minutes before our reservation time had ended, they were no longer letting people with the same reservation time enter the queue. They completely cut it off. So if it is high priority on your list, make sure to get in at least an hour before your reservation time is over to guarantee that you're going to get in. The inside of the Cantina is surprisingly pretty small and weirdly feels like a real bar. Most of it is standing room only, but there are a few booths scattered throughout the establishment. They could probably seat around 12 people, and they let you know that if you are in a smaller party that you may be seated with these smaller parties. If you are a guest attending in a wheelchair, the booths are curved, but the longest side of the table is completely open, and we saw a lot of people in wheelchairs that were able to pull up to those. There's also some wheelchair height friendly space at the bar. So don't worry, your wait time shouldn't really be impacted by how much standing room there is. Savi's is another popular destination. It is where you will be able to make your own custom lightsaber. You can really best compare this to Ollivander's at Wizarding World. You get to make your lightsaber, but there's also this like show involved. The lightsaber itself runs $200 before tax, and if you aren't making a lightsaber, then you can also ask to watch the experience. It's gonna be really based on capacity and how many people are purchasing lightsabers and how many people are in their parties, but it does not hurt to ask so you can at least see what's going on inside. The other merch location that everyone is talking about is the Droid Depot, where you can make your own custom droid. The droids are remote control operated, and you can include a personality chip that is either aligned with the Rebellion, the First Order, or be neutral, and supposedly your droid should react differently depending on what area of Galaxy's Edge it's in. There's tons of color combinations and fun shapes to choose from. They run $100, and if you aren't going to make your own droid, then at least check out the shop. There's a lot of merch specific to the Droid Depot. You can get a pre-built model of DJ Rex, which is pretty cool, and you can also check out the $25,000 life-size R2-D2 that you can buy. I don't know why no one's getting that. Breakfast. I mention this because if you are lucky enough to have a reservation between 8 a.m. and noon, you actually get the chance to try some exclusive items that are morning only. Ronto's Roasters has some items. They have the turkey jerky and they have a Ronto's wrap. But earlier during the day, up until opening through 11 a.m., they serve a breakfast version of the Ronto wrap, which is pretty similar, but it does have eggs and a few different changes. Oga's Cantina also has some morning exclusive drinks like Bloody Marys and cold brew coffee. There's alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks available. So if you are going early and want something that's really special to your time slot, be sure to check out those items. One specific thing I want to mention in regards to food is that a lot of the food items throughout Batu use this special peppercorn, and it is not a spicy peppercorn, but is a special Chinese peppercorn that makes your mouth like tingly and a little numb. When I first had the Ronto wrap, which was my favorite thing that I ate throughout the whole land, my mouth started having this like weird sensation and I thought I was having an allergic reaction. Turns out the peppercorn just does that. I wish I had known beforehand and I would have spent less time freaking out. So just be wary of that unless you have an actual like peppercorn allergy or something that you could be allergic to in some other sense of the Ronto wrap. Don't be super alarmed if your tongue and your lips start getting tingly. That's like supposed to happen. Let's talk Smuggler's Run. Galaxy's Edge is opening with one ride available, and that is Smuggler's Run. It can best be described as like Mission Space in Epcot meets Star Tours, except unlike Mission Space, it's interactive, but what you do actually impacts the ride itself. This is a ride where you get to fly the Millennium Falcon, and each ride is going to have 6 positions. You have 2 pilots, 2 gunners, and 2 engineers. The 2 times that I rode, we had a full group of 6 where we all knew each other and we could discuss what roles that we wanted, because you cannot request from a cast member for a specific role. The cast members assign your roles face down and you flip them up, and then you can trade amongst the people that you're riding with if you would prefer a different position over the other. I did notice that the way the positions are passed out were always the same. The first 2 people always get pilot, the second 2 people always get gunner, and the last 2 people get engineer. So depending on where you are in line and how you kind of load the room, then you'll kind of have an idea of what position that you'll be, and you can always ask really nicely to change if you want. Each position has its own jobs. 1 pilot controls up and down, 1 pilot controls left and right. The 2 gunners are controlling both blasters on the side of the Millennium Falcon, and then the engineers are pushing a bunch of buttons on the side to like repair damages throughout the journey. Super high re-ride value. I was the pilot, loved it. The gunner was pretty fun, but I'm excited to try engineer as well. We rode it twice within our 4-hour window because the second time we jumped in line just 5 minutes before our reservation time was up. Highly recommend that. The entire immersion of Galaxy's Edge is unlike any that I've experienced in any Disney park in the world. It is truly incredible. It is huge. The only other part of Disneyland that you get to see is the top of Big Thunder Mountain, which actually just blends in with the rest of Batu. And then when you are on the second level of the Smuggler's Run queue, there's 2 windows. And if you look really closely, you can see Mission Breakout over in DCA, and you also can see the Fantasyland Theater. But other than that, like that's it. It's truly a land of its own. There are tons of characters running around like Chewie, Rey, so many stormtroopers, even brand new characters that are specific to Batu. Because Batu has 3 suns, cast members say things like rising suns instead of hello or good morning. They say things like credits instead of dollars. So it's a really, really neat experience. I Disney bonded as Princess Leia, and I had a lot of cast members saying things like, oh, that hairstyle looks really familiar, or oh, you remind me of someone that I've only heard stories about. So if you're a super Star Wars fan, and especially if you kind of like that role-playing activity, you are gonna have a blast. That being said, I also know that that isn't everybody's cup of tea. So if you wanna say dollars or if you wanna say hello, no pressure at all, but just be aware that the cast members really wanna interact with you. So they're gonna give you as much as you give them back. All in all, I really recommend taking your time. The atmosphere is unreal. It is so huge. I got to go in a time when I wasn't allowed to have my phone out, and I think that actually had me experience the entire world so much more. I would love to know what part of Galaxy's Edge you are excited to experience the most, and if you have reservations, let me know when you're going to be going. If you have any more questions, leave them down below. I will answer all of them to the best of my ability. Subscribe for more Disney content, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!